My name is Elena Brooks, and the night my brother punched me into the wall, I realized I was never part of this family, just tolerated until I made noise. It started with dinner. My brother, Caleb, made another cruel joke about my weight. No one flinched. I told him to stop, calmly, but my voice cracked, and he smiled wider. "You don't get to talk to me like that," he sneered. "You're nothing here." I stood up. My chair scraped back. That sound, that was the line crossing. He moved fast, fist to cheek. I flew into the wall. I remember the sound of the picture frame shattering behind me, the warmth of blood in my mouth. My ribs screamed. And my parents? They just watched. Not frozen. Not shocked. Just passive. Almost bored. When I tried to stand, to defend myself, my father grabbed me by the shoulders, slammed me back down, and growled, "He's the face of this family. Touch him, and you'll regret it." That's when it hit me. It wasn't just abuse. It was design. They never saw me as blood. And that night, broken and bleeding, I began rewriting the ending they had written for me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay curled on the floor of my room, bruised and burning, a cold rag pressed to my cheekbone where his ring had split the skin. Every time I tried to breathe deeply, my ribs throbbed. The house was silent, but I wasn't alone. Rage sat with me. The next morning, no one said a word. No apology. No shame. My mother made eggs. My father read the paper. Caleb walked in whistling, wearing the same hand-me-down varsity jacket they refused to throw away, the symbol of who he was to them. When I tried to stand at the table, Dad said, "Don't make this a thing." I sat back down, not because I was scared, because I was planning. That day, I went to the school counselor, and for the first time, I didn't hold back. She listened. She documented. She took pictures of my face in harsh light. I wasn't just telling my story. I was building a record. Because if my own family wouldn't protect me, I'd protect myself. They called him the face of the family. But I had a new name for him now. Defendant. And I wasn't going to be quiet anymore. By Friday, the school had already called my parents. I heard the aftermath through the walls. My father's raised voice, my mother's sharp whisper. "She's overreacting. She always does this." Drama. Drama. That's what they called my broken ribs. I stayed locked in my room. They didn't knock. They didn't check if I needed ice or air. Caleb walked past my door like I was a rumor. But Monday changed everything. That's when Child Protective Services showed up. Not just a phone call. A full visit. A woman with a clipboard and calm eyes asked to speak with me privately. My parents tried to intervene. She smiled, professional and firm, and said, "Legally, you have no say in this conversation." For the first time, I saw my father's confidence slip. I showed her everything. Photos, messages, a journal I'd kept for years, cataloging bruises and patterns and silences. She asked if I felt safe. I didn't answer, but I looked at her in a way that told her enough. Caleb was suspended. An investigation opened. That night, my father stood in my doorway. "You have no idea what you've started." I met his glare and said, "No, you have no idea what I'm about to finish." The house changed after that. My mother stopped speaking to me. She'd walk past me like I was air. Sometimes she'd whisper on the phone, pretending I wasn't 3 feet away. I caught words like ungrateful and liar, but she never said them to my face. Caleb was forced to attend court-mandated counseling. He came home angrier than before, not loud, not violent this time, just quiet rage. The kind that simmers in corners. My father stayed tense, watching me like I might ruin more. But I wasn't ruining anything. I was just documenting. Every sideways threat. Every insult. Every time my mother refused to make dinner because I was there. I wrote it down. I recorded what I could. I learned their routines. I stayed one step ahead. Then came the court summons. Caleb was being charged, officially. Misdemeanor assault, due to my injuries and the school's testimony. My father snapped that night, slammed his fist on the kitchen table and yelled, "You're destroying this family." I stood from my chair. spine straight.
No. You did.
I'm just making sure it's on record. He lunged, but I didn't flinch, because this time I wasn't the only one watching. There were eyes everywhere now. 2 weeks later, we stood in court. Not for a full trial, just the first hearing. But it was enough. Caleb sat beside his attorney, eyes down, jaw locked. My parents were behind him, dressed like mourners at a funeral, casting glares like daggers. I walked in alone, spine straight, bruises faded but not forgotten. When the judge read the charges, my father muttered, "This is disgusting." I didn't even look at him. The prosecutor laid it out clearly. Physical assault, documented injury, witness testimony from the school, photos,
Statements.
audio clips. Every piece I'd gathered, every time they told me to sit down, stay quiet, be good, now lived in the court record. Afterward, outside the courthouse, Mom rushed toward me. "You're trying to ruin your brother's life." I turned to face her fully.
No.
He did that himself the moment he put his fist in my face. She looked stunned, like she still couldn't believe I'd dared to speak, to fight back,
To rise.
I walked past her, keys in hand, bag on my shoulder. They built their whole world around protecting Caleb's image. And now the cracks weren't just showing. They were spreading. And this time, I wasn't the one breaking. The story started spreading. Not because I wanted it to, but because silence was no longer shield. Caleb's name was whispered at school, in hushed hallways and sharp side eyes. Not the golden boy anymore. Not untouchable. Just exposed. The mask cracked. And for the first time, people believed me. My counselor submitted additional documentation. Old teachers came forward with subtle things they'd witnessed, but never reported. My aunt, my mom's sister, called me and said she was proud of me. "I always wondered why you were so quiet. Now I understand." At home, things shifted. Dad barely spoke to me. When he did, it was clipped, controlled, calculated. Like he was waiting for a chance to strike, but couldn't afford another move. Mom grew distant, like she didn't recognize me anymore. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she only ever knew the version of me who tolerated everything and kept smiling through it. But that girl was gone. I spent my evenings packing. Slowly, carefully. I was moving in with a friend from school, a foster kid who understood what it meant to rebuild with nothing. Because I wasn't staying. This house had already chosen its heir. Now, it was losing its witness. I moved out the next morning. No goodbye. No scene. Just a final walk through the house I'd grown up in. Quiet, cold, and so much smaller than I remembered. Caleb watched from the kitchen, arms folded. He didn't say a word, not even to gloat. His silence was heavier than his fists. My dad stood on the porch as I loaded the last bag into the car. "You think this is strength?" he muttered. "Running away?" I turned to him, calm and unshaken.
No.
"I think this is what it looks like when the scapegoat learns to unhook herself." He didn't reply. Mom was inside. She never came out. Maybe she was ashamed. Maybe she still thought she was protecting someone. I no longer cared. At my new place, I unpacked slowly. My ribs had mostly healed, but the emotional bruises still pulsed beneath my skin. But the silence here felt different. Not sharp like theirs. Peaceful. Empty in a way that invited healing. I pinned my court hearing date to the fridge. 2 weeks left. I knew they'd show up polished, rehearsed, full of lies. But this time, I wasn't alone. And I wasn't showing up to be heard. I was showing up to be believed. Court felt colder than I expected. I sat across from Caleb, suit pressed, hair combed, playing the part. My parents flanked him, stone-faced, like statues guarding a crumbling monument. They didn't look at me once, but I wasn't there for them. The judge read the charges. The prosecutor laid out the evidence, the photos, school records, witness statements, my journal entries, the counselor's report. My voice wasn't alone anymore. It echoed through every documented bruise, every page I had once written in secret. When it was my turn, I stood. I told the truth.
Calm. Steady.
Not to punish him, but to free myself. Caleb's lawyer tried to twist it. My dad stood up once, tried to interrupt. The judge shut it down. Mom's eyes were glassy, but she never cried. The verdict wasn't dramatic. Deferred sentencing, mandatory therapy, a record that wouldn't be sealed. But it was official. Afterward, outside, Caleb passed me without a word. My father glared. My mother whispered, "You've destroyed us." I looked her in the eye.
No.
I survived you. That night, I walked into my apartment, locked the door behind me, and exhaled. No more silence. No more asking to be seen.